Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, and today we're gonna do something fun. Stats! No, not like with a computer or calculator. We're gonna do book stats, so that's kind of fun, right? I come into this saying that we're doing fun. I'm not like the biggest fan of stats, but I do think it's cool to reflect on, and so I'm going to be talking a little bit about like total numbers, like breaking down things. Then I'm just going to talk or go through every single book I've read this year because it's not too many, and that way if you're curious to know all the books that I read and what I rated them, this video is for you. I have already posted my worst books and best books of the year, so if you're more interested in knowing that, then go check out those videos. But this one is going to break down all of the books that I read this year. And so if that's your type of video, then here we are. I hope you're excited. So I read a total of 54 books in 2020. My goal had been 76. I didn't reach that goal. That's okay. This year, I've mentioned this so many times, was difficult for me. I did finish college this year, and there was a portion of my time spent in the fall really focusing on that, and then also like just kind of the depression of quarantine. I didn't want to read, and that's okay. I still managed to read over 50 books this year for not wanting to read and being in a reading slump, and I'm very proud of myself. And you know, just wishful and hopeful that 2021 will be better. So 54 books, still pretty great. So that ended up being a total of 19,396 pages. The average book length for me was about 350 pages, so like an average novel pretty much. I think the longest one I read was The Toll, which is weird because I thought Mistborn was longer, but I guess not. And then my overall average rating for books was a 3.8, so slightly better than average. So that's pretty good. And this is obviously looking at my Goodreads. So normally I would probably rate things with half stars, but looking at this, I'm going to be going by the full star just because that's what I've done on Goodreads. And also some books I did not rate, like my reread of the Warriors series, I didn't rate that. And then there was another book that was a memoir, and I don't really feel comfortable rating memoirs because they're about someone's life. How can you rate someone's life? Those aren't being into consideration here in this stats, but they are part of the total books that I read this year. So breaking down my star ratings, I only read one star this year, which was a blessing. I ended up reading 5 2-stars, I believe 12 or 13 3-stars. Trying to read the tally marks that I made wasn't really a good idea, but I will have a pie chart here. The star rating that I gave out the most was 4 stars, which I have either 19 or 20 of those, so that was definitely a majority. And then I believe I gave out 10 or 11 5-stars. So again, some books I had rated a 4.5, but I bounced it up to 5, or I lowered it down to a 4, because Goodreads doesn't do half stars because they're crazy like that. I would say that overall I had a decent reading year. I read more books that I like enjoyed and didn't hate, which is good considering I read less. I wouldn't necessarily say that I was picking up books like I was excited for. I still like very much was trying to make myself TBRs and like fit things into prompts, and I wasn't really mood reading, only on occasion. So like I think that those stats ended up being pretty good considering I wasn't really mood reading. Breaking down my genres, the most read I believe is fantasy by 1 book. Could be wrong. Or that's fantasy and sci-fi. I didn't read too many sci-fi books this year, but I just lumped them in because I think there's only 2 or 3 of them. And then the next read obviously was thriller mystery. I also had a decent chunk of contemporaries. I believe I had 8 of those. 5 anthologies. 1 memoir and 1 classic. So, oh, and 5 historical fiction too. I forgot to mention that. Yeah, so this year I definitely dived a little bit more into historical. I believe, like I said, I rated all of them pretty well. 3 of them made it to my best books of the year. I definitely am excited to read more historical fiction. I do have a shelf down there that is mostly historical fiction, and so I really want to read a lot of those this year and give it a try, because I'm pleasantly happy with the fact that I am reading more of that and loving it. I obviously have a lot of fantasy I need to get to this year, and thrillers too, but I would say that those are probably, I'm predicting, are going to be my top for next year. But again, contemporary won the 3rd spot this year, so that's pretty good. I think that my breakdown was what I was expecting. I didn't realize I did read 5 anthologies this year, because I guess I would have been like, oh, that's a or like that's contemporary, but I had to put in anthology, so like seeing that number is kind of surprising. And then author ratio, male to female, I definitely read more female authors this year. I mean, not an inconsiderable amount of male authors. Some of those were repeats, like Neil Shusterman and Stephen King were on there a couple times, but I counted them per book. And then I actually read a lot of new to me authors this year. I am very happy to report. I found new authors that I'm excited to read from in the future, and I also, enjoyed a few well, I didn't include the Warriors books there, but I enjoyed a few authors that I knew I like Stephen King and Renee Audier were on there. So I think that that's like a decent breakdown, and I think that I did pretty well this year with books, and I have high hopes for next year, but I'm happy with what I read this year. So now is the portion where I'm just going to go through and tell you every single book that I read in 2020 and the star rating that I gave it. So if you're not interested in that, feel free to click off, but I'm kind of interested to see, because some of these books I don't remember reading. So the first one that I read in 2020 in January was The God Game by Danny Tobey. I gave this a 3.5 star, I believe, and I had received this for review. Then I read The Turn of the Key by Ruth Ware and gave that one a 4 star, which is probably the unpopular opinion. I didn't love it as much as everybody else, but I was glad that I read it this year. I read One Dark Throne by Kendar Blake, and I gave that one a 4 star. I am very excited to continue reading that series, but I had read this with Ariel. Buddy read it with her, and I also don't own the other books, so I have not continued yet. Then The Great Alone by Kristen Hanna, which I gave 4.5. Saint X by Alexis Shadekin, which I gave 2 stars. You Are Not Alone by Greer Hendricks and Sarah Pekkanen, which I gave a 4 star. This was another one that I'd received for review. Now getting into my contemporary-a-thon, I had read Everything I Never Told You by Celeste Ng, which I gave a 4 star. Very good book. I Will Give You the Sun by Jandy Nelson. I gave that one a 3.5 star, but I rounded up to a 4 on here. I think I might roll that down to a 3 instead. I didn't enjoy it that much, but it was okay. I read Meet Cute, Some People Are Destined to Meet for Valentine's Day, and that was obviously an anthology that ended up being rounded into a 4-star rating, or 3.5. I usually just take all of the stories, rate them, and then average that out to give it a rating on Goodreads. The Furies by Katie Lowe. I did not like that book, and I ended up DNFing it, but I did include it on here because I did read a decent chunk of it. And then we got into my worst thriller vlog. I Know You Know by Gilly McMillan. I gave a 3 star. Not That I Could Tell by Jessica Strasser was a 1 star. My 1 star of the year, which you should have seen in my worst books of the year video. Don't You Cry by Mary Kupka. I gave 2 stars. Into the Water by Paula Hawkins was 3 stars. I thought I had read another thriller, but I think I DNF'd one like within a few pages. That's why there's only 4 there. Then another book that I'd received for review was Good Boy, My Life in 7 Dogs by Jennifer Finney Boylan. I did not read this one because it was the memoir, and again, I don't feel comfortable rating someone's life. It was a good book though, especially if you like dogs, and it was a story about a transgender woman, so if that's something that interests you, then I would say check it out. 2 5 stars in a row. I had read How to Walk Away by Catherine Senner, and then I read The Final Empire, Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. Again, both of those were 5 stars. I ended up doing a reread of the Warrior series with a couple friends. So we have books 1 through 4, which I didn't rate because they're rereads and I know I like them and that would be unfair. And then I paused and read The Martian by Andy Weir, which was a 4 star. Read book number 5 in the Warriors Then Baby Teeth by Zoe Stage, which was a 2-star, and then read the last book by Aaron Hunter of the Warrior series after that. Then we have This Is How You Lose the Time War by Amal El-Matar and Max Gladstone, which I only gave a 2-star. If you would like to hear more about that, make sure to see my Worst Books of the Year video. I explain a little bit about why. Fat Lip, a love story anthology by Hannah O'Donnell. I gave this one a 4-star, again, an anthology collection. Another anthology collection, If It Bleeds by Stephen King. I gave this one a 3-star overall. I was not really impressed with it, unfortunately, and it kind of made me upset, but you know, you win some, you lose some. The Perks of Being a Wallflower by Stephen Chbosky, a 5-star read, of course. Some fantasies. Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. I gave that one a 3-star. Song of Blood and Stone by Elle Penelope. I gave a 3-star. I think that one might be really good if you are into like Romeo and Juliet retellings and you're looking for a POC book, as our main character is Black and it is written by a Black author. So, Second Home by Christina Clancy, another book I received for review. I gave that one a 3-star. Maxim's End by Lindsay Ellis, another review copy, which I gave 4 stars. This was a sci-fi I really enjoyed. The Dinner by Herman Koch, I gave a 3 or a 2.5 star. Night Swim by Megan Golden was a 4.5 star. Again, another review copy. Another review copy was After Sundown by Mark Morris. This was another anthology of horror stories. I didn't love it, but there were some really good books in there, or short stories in there by Grady Hendrix and a couple other authors, so maybe check that out if you're into horror. The Book of Lost Names by Kristen Harmel was a 5-star, and again, a review copy, and I really enjoyed it. Then I read Thunderhead and The Toll by Neil Shusterman. Both I rated 5 stars on Goodreads. I believe The Toll was a 4.5 for me, but still amazing. I would still give the whole trilogy a 5. The Secret Life of Bees by Sue Monk Kidd was a 4-star. The Gilded Wolves by Roshani Chakshi was 2 stars. The Book Thief by Marcus Zuzak and Such a Fun Age by Kylie Reed, were both 5 stars. Sleeping Giants by Sylvain Nouvelle was a 4-star sci-fi. The Rage of Dragons by Evan Winter was 4 or 4.5 stars. I would have to click to see, but that one was a really, really good fantasy. I had read with Fantasy Monthly, which I have kind of abandoned recently, which I feel really bad about because I just haven't been in the best reading spot, so I've like not wanted to bother them with me saying, oh, I haven't wanted to read lately, guys. But yeah, I'm very glad that I did end up picking that one up. The Hollow Ones by Guillermo del Toro and Chuck Hogan, which I gave a 4 and was again another review copy. The Night Circus by Aaron Morgenstern, I gave 4 stars. Very pleasantly surprised with that one. Night Shift by Stephen King and John MacDonald, which I believe he put that together, maybe? I don't know, they're both on there. I gave this one a 4-star, and this is an anthology that, like, I really enjoyed it. I think this is actually supposed to be one of his best anthologies. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really good and creepy. The Beautiful by Renee Audier, I gave 4 stars. A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness was a 5-star, as well as The Bees by Laline Paul. Vengeance Road by Aaron Bowman, I gave 3 stars. Sorcery of Thorns by Margaret Rogerson probably could have been a honorable mention on my best books of the year list. I gave this one a 4.5 star, pretty good. The Perfect Guest by Emma Roos was a 3-star. This one was an advanced reader copy. Animal Farm by George Orwell, I gave this one 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. Unfortunately, this was a failed vlog attempt to read classics only, but that did not really work out. And then the last book that I read in 2020, which I honestly just finished last night, was The Children's Blizzard by Melanie Benjamin, which I gave 4 stars and another advanced reader copy. So there are all 54 books that I read in 2020. It was a big list and a lot of different readings, a lot of different genres. Hopefully, maybe there are some books on that list that you have been looking out for or wondering if I read, and now you know what I rated them and if I did read them. So let me know in the comments below what some of your stats were for the year, how many books you read, how many pages, what some of your favorites and least favorites were. I would love to know. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and hit that subscribe button if you want to see more of my content in the future. Tomorrow I will be sharing my 2021 goals on the last day of the year, and I am very excited. So if you guys are also excited, I hope I will see you all there, and if I do, then that's when I'll see you. So thank you guys so much for watching. Bye!